time has come for everyone to clean up their own backyard.
It amuses me every time I hear about a Republican trying to rewrite the history of what happened on January 6th. We all saw what happened that day. We all saw the numerous Republicans and Trump staffers and Trump himself pushing for this. Mo Brooks saying it's time to take names and kick ass. Let's have trial by combat. That's Rudy Giuliani speaking. In the May's end, we saw the images of Donald Trump supporters breaking into the Capitol. But apparently Republicans are so obsessed with trying to point the finger the other way that they don't get from in their heads that trying to blame everyone else, the finger is being pointed at them. What you're about to see is a clip from CNN's reality check, giving us a much needed reality check on what happened on January 6th, so we can never forget. And I'll give you my comments later on.
Rewriting history is something usually associated with communists and Confederates. But we're witnessing an attempt to rewrite history around January 6th in real time. Now, sometimes it's blatant, even beyond Trump's chronic lies, like Tucker Carlson's Fox Nation doc suggesting it was all a false flag operation, or Trumpite congressmen pretending the attackers were tourists and then calling them political prisoners, or this jackassery.
No.
Did Trump win or lose the election?
I don't know.
Well, there you go.
Because here's
the
problem.
world does.
Yeah, but sometimes the rewriting of history comes in more subtle forms, like the talking point that it's time to turn the page, parroted by Mike Pence, who the mob wanted to murder, or Mitch McConnell's decision to kill the initial January 6th commission, or the 200 Republicans who voted to save Steve Bannon from a contempt charge because, according to one member, they were afraid of the wacko birds in the base. Or Glenn Youngkin's playbook in Virginia, sidestepping the big lie by admitting that Biden won only after his own primary was in the bag, and even then declining to say whether he would have certified the election. Right now, inside the GOP, there seem to be two primary ways of dealing with Trump's attempted coup: disinformation and downplay. Neither is acceptable, because every day we get more information about why this fight over the facts matters so much. A court filing this weekend suggests that Trump's trying to block approximately 750 pages of records from being released. Now, these include White House records and phone logs around January 6th, as well as speech drafts, emails, and talking points around his attempt to overturn the election. Now, first, administration records belong to the American people, not the ex-president. Second, the fact that he's trying to stop their release has little to do with executive privilege and everything to do with trying to hide evidence. Trump knows that the truth will not set him free, because the new details that do emerge paint a damning picture. Read Sunday's massive Washington Post investigation, which provides new evidence that the attack was not spontaneous, but spurred by Trump's lies, provoking extremist supporters to plot a violent attack on the Capitol with online threats that were far earlier and far more extensive. This was a coup attempt based on a lie spread by the ex-president, and there's nothing more serious. And the vast majority of Republicans who've rolled over to enable the big lie are complicit, because there's no middle ground here. You either care about democracy or you don't. But attempts to muddy the waters may be unwittingly aided by the Biden Justice Department's tepid charges to date, leveled at the 650 or so people arrested. Now, that was the message sent by Judge Beryl Howell in a blistering statement from the bench late last week, where she accused the DOJ of sending muddled and schizophrenic messages about the attack. Quote, "No wonder parts of the public in the U.S. are confused about whether what happened on January 6th at the Capitol was simply a petty offense of trespassing with some disorderliness, or shocking criminal conduct that represented a grave threat to our democratic norms." Let me make my view clear, the judge said. The rioters were not mere protesters. And the judge is right on this one. Treason must be made odious, as Andrew Johnson said during the Civil War, and the charges must fit the crime, not trespassing or obstruction of congressional proceedings, but at least in some cases a conspiracy to commit insurrection. There must be truth before there can be reconciliation, solidified by the passage of laws like reform of the Electoral Count Act to make sure that nothing like this plot can ever be pursued again. Rewriting history to protect the guilty is a civic sin. So is enabling that rewriting to occur out of fear and greed in pursuit of short-term political gain. And that's what we're seeing play out right now. The fever of the big lie will break only when Republicans realize that it is a deal with the devil that leads to political defeat. And that's your reality check.
Yeah, rewriting history is one of the biggest symptoms of totalitarianism. It's something that should alarm everybody.
That's right.
John Avalon, thank you very much.
Thank you.
The fact is this has got to stop. The lies about January 6th need to stop. Every day that Donald Trump, or hell, any of his supporters walk free who were involved in January 6th, anyone who was involved in January 6th, whether it be a congressman or senator, even Donald Trump and his entire family themselves, every day they walk free, this country's democracy hangs by a thread. And every time they push this lie about what really happened on January 6th, it wasn't Donald Trumpers, it wasn't Trump, it wasn't the Republicans, it was Antifa, it was Black Lives Matter, it was everyone else but the people wearing the red hats. It was everyone else except the sovereign withdrawn idiots flying the Confederate flag in the U.S. Capitol. Every time they lie about this, it puts our country more and more and more at risk. And there's one more thing we need to do. I have two letters here. I found these on Facebook. One of them is addressed to the Attorney General, Merrick Garland, and the other to President Biden. First to Attorney General Garland. In the 60s, a woman was raped and murdered in front of 38 people. Not one person chased to help. This became an iconic case because the world was dumbfounded that literally nobody lifted a finger to save this poor woman. They even made a movie about the horrific silence that cost this woman her life. Your silence regarding the January 6th insurrection is viciously attacking our democracy and letting it slowly die. With no disrespect, I say to you, do not be like these people who watched and did nothing. You have a huge responsibility to those Democrats and independents who voted for you. Now, you right now, on this day, have the power to arrest Bannon and show other terrorists that our country and democracy is as safe as the U.S. Mint. Yet you are backing off the justice we voted for. May we ask why? What is the holdup? He broke the law. If we're ever going to feel safe from domestic terror, pipe bombs, Trumpism hate crimes, or even civil unrest at schools, you need to do your job. I agree with this. And Attorney General Garland, it's time for you to stop placating and trying to explain away a bunch of Republicans who twisted and turned your memo about wanting to investigate threats of violence against school board members, and tried to twist that memo into saying they're going after the parents. These guys are going after the parents. We were right. They're going after the parents now. Do your job. Prosecute every single person involved in January 6th. And I'm not just talking about the little pawns. I'm not talking about the guy with the horns screaming loudly and trying to invoke the name of Jesus Christ into those prayers while he was trying to actually kill Democratic congressmen. I'm talking about going after the congressmen, those 7 people I mentioned in the previous video, especially Marjorie Taylor Greene, especially Madison Cawthorn, especially Lauren Boebert, who had a hand in this. I want you to go after the senators, Josh Hawley, Mo Brooks, especially Ted Fled Cruz, every one of them who had a hand in pushing January 6th. And eventually, I want you to go after, and yeah, I know someone's going to scream First Amendment, but right now, the First Amendment doesn't cover threats of violence. Fox News, I'm talking to you. ONN, I'm talking to you. Newsmax, I'm talking to you. And then I want you to go after the big men, the Trumps, every single one of them who made a speech about what happened on January 6th. I want you to go after Trump Jr., Eric Trump, their wives, especially that idiot who screams, "The best is yet to come," whoever her name is, I don't know. I want you to go after Donald Trump himself, because he had a very huge hand between the day the election was called for Joe Biden, right after January 6th. He pushed and prodded the lie. What did he think his supporters were going to do? He knew his supporters were going to do. They were going to go insane and did what they did on January 6th. So yeah, I want you to do your job and go after these people. Because the longer you don't, the worse our democracy is going to get. Which brings me to this next layer that's addressed to President Biden. Dear President Biden, did you ever think that you instantly investigated the Trump's involvement in the insurrection, that you may have scared these weasels in the GOP into becoming more bipartisan? If you nibbed Trump in the bud, you might have him walk out of the way so you could do your job. We expected that a year after the election, you would have shut him up and put him in his place. We expected you to run this country your way and investigate January 6th and all other crimes. But instead, they could do the bipartisan dance. Thanks to the GOP personally sabotaging you over Trumpism, this country is hurting. We stood for hours to vote the way we want to change. Thanks to zero accountability from a multitude of crimes, Trumpism is at its finest. His personal GOP gave us horrific voting laws. We have our civil rights taken away. Trumpers are not moving products to make you look bad. Anti-vaxxers are fighting and attacking school boards. Your main involvement is an infrastructure bill that the GOP dino and a Trump wacko are holding hostage in this country right now. It's never too late. I think we deserve what we voted for. Be the strong president of the United States we need right now, today. Even if the dinos pass the bill, well, most of our civil liberties will be violated by his loyal disciple men in office. They're going to rig the 2022 election, and he will be the enforcer. So you see, you're not going to have any freedoms until the madman is held accountable. We deserve it. Yes, we do. Now, I have none but the greatest respect for President Biden, although things could be different, things should be different. But this is the main thing we need now. As long as Donald Trump, as long as any Trump supporter who had a hand in January 6th, whether they be a congressman, senator, lawyer, or just your average red hat idiot out there, as long as they are free, this country is hanging by a thread. And as long as they're pushing that lie of January 6th, saying it wasn't a big deal, it was just a small little riot. As long as they are pushing that lie and continue to push that lie and continue to push that lie and continue to push that lie, nothing will change. This country will die. Because every time we don't prosecute at least one of these people, as long as we don't prosecute the congressmen and women that I mentioned, in the previous video, the senators, as long as we don't prosecute anyone in the Trump camp and Trump himself, we are sending the message that what happened on January 6th was acceptable. That a group of people can attack the United States Capitol, put the lives of congressmen and senators at risk, assault police officers, getting 5 people killed. No, I'm sorry, 4 people. Because Ashley, whatever her name is, she didn't count. She was one of the terrorists who attacked. As long as they do this, as long as we do not prosecute them, we are sending the message that what happened on January 6th was perfectly okay. You might as well say that 9/11 was okay. You might as well say that Oklahoma City was okay. You might as well say the myriad of mass shootings in this country were just fine. Don't matter. Don't matter. Who cares that a few kids got killed? Who cares that a few innocent people got shot up? Don't matter. That's the message you're saying to this country when you don't prosecute them. I hate to requote Trump or his supporters, but lock them up. You know what? There's something else I need to say real quick. The question I've been asking for weeks, hell, it feels like almost the entire year, is this. If all the conspiracy theories are correct, if BLM, the FBI, Antifa, left-wing extremists, if they were the true perpetrators of the January 6th attack, if they were the ones who really assaulted police officers on that day, if they're the ones who really, really perpetrated the terrorism on that day, why would the Republican Party, why would Donald Trump supporters, why would Donald Trump's made men and women in Congress and Senate, why would Donald Trump himself, why would they all refuse to cooperate with an investigation that could prove all those points? That it wasn't Donald Trump or any of these people who did January 6th. It was them. It was the left wing. It was the radical left. It was the perverts, as Donald Trump put in one of his statements. It was those BLM hooligans. It was those Antifa bullies. If they were really responsible for January 6th, why is it that Donald Trump and members of Congress and the Senate, that his own lawyers are doing everything they can to stop the investigation? An investigation that could possibly prove them completely innocent, if they were true. So I'm going to do something I haven't really done before. You know I've debated with Donald Trump supporters via Facebook or YouTube or anything else. I'm putting the call out right now. Whether you be a senator or a congressman or just a lowly red hat MAGA moron, I'm calling you guys out right now. I'm proposing for you to live debate me here on YouTube or on Facebook Live, anywhere you call. I propose you debate me, and I'm going to ask you that very question. I know I'm not going to get an answer. I'm going to get a bunch of double talk and everything. I just wanted to get you guys on video saying that you think January 6th was okay, that you think that January 6th was not a big deal, that you think that January 6th was actually perpetrated by BLM, by Antifa, by the left wing. I want you to say that on video to show how far gone you people really are. And I want you to answer the question as to why, if it was Antifa, if it was BLM, if it was the left wing, truly responsible for January 6th, why are you against an investigation? Why are the people you support, the Republican Party, the Trump Party, I'm going to just say it right there, the Trump Party, why are you against an investigation that could prove you right? Why is Donald Trump hiding specific documents that could prove he had nothing to do with January 6th? I know, again, I know I'm not going to get a straight answer from you people. I know that. But I just want to make sure I get this on video so I can. And one last thing, the debate is going to be recorded, and I'm going to post it on Facebook and YouTube. So think very carefully before you accept my challenge. If you're man enough to accept my challenge, if you're man enough to stand for Donald Trump on his two shoe of lies that have been debunked over and over and over and over and over again, step up to the plate. Debate them live. And I already know that you guys aren't going to do it because you're a bunch of cowards, but I thought I would just do it anyway. I'll be waiting to hear from you if you have the guts to talk. CTP, know the truth. God bless. Peace to the left, justice to the right.